There are moments in life when the light seems to fade. It might be the crushing weight of a loss, the gnawing anxiety of an uncertain future, the pain of a betrayal, or the quiet despair of a dream that seems to have died. In these moments, the world can feel like a closed room, the walls pressing in, the air growing thin. It is a profound darkness where we can see no path forward, no exit, no hope. In this very state of heart, Allah speaks to us with a promise that is both a comfort and a command. The promise is deceptively simple, so much so that in the thick of our pain we can read the words, hear them recited, and yet feel a chasm between their divine assurance and our raw, human experience. Verily, with hardship comes ease. The Arabic asterisk, inna ma'al usri yusra, asterisk carries a rhythm, a almost musical certainty that feels distant when the heart is heavy. Our natural human inclination is to sequence events in a linear fashion. First there is the hardship, then, after a period of suffering, the ease will arrive. We see the trial as a dark tunnel we must endure, and we cling to the hope of light at the end of it. This is a valid and understandable perspective, but the Quranic verse invites us into a far more profound, a far more immediate, and a far more revolutionary understanding. The critical preposition is asterisk, ma, asterisk, which means with. It does not say after the hardship, it says asterisk with asterisk the hardship. This is not a chronological sequence, it is a spiritual coexistence. The human mind, in its quest for security and control, is wired to seek clear paths and logical exits. We map our lives with predictable routes from education to career, from courtship to marriage, from investment to return. We build mental models of how the world should work, and we find comfort in the illusion of a linear, manageable journey. But the divine curriculum operates on a different plane, one that often deliberately shatters our models to introduce us to a reality far greater than our own planning. It is at the very precipice of human capability, at the absolute dead end, we have meticulously reasoned ourselves into, that Allah's guidance performs its most profound and unmistakable work. Consider the moment, frozen in eternal lesson for all of humanity, when Prophet Musa, as with his people, found himself trapped between the unleashed fury of Pharaoh's army and the vast, impassable barrier of the Red Sea. From every rational, earthly perspective, this was the end. There were no boats, no bridges, no hidden passes. The calculus of survival yielded zero. The people cried out, asterisk, indeed, we are about to be overtaken. Asterisk, this is the universal cry of the human heart at its breaking point. The moment when the diagnosis is final, the bankruptcy is declared. The relationship is irreparably broken, the last option has been exhausted. It is the moment when we too say, this is it, there is no way. But it is in this precise moment, at the collision of human impossibility and divine decree, that the nature of the asterisk nafs asterisk, the ego, is exposed, and the door to asterisk tawakkul asterisk, absolute reliance on Allah, is forced open. Our asterisk nafs asterisk screams for a solution it can comprehend. It looks for a small boat, a secret weapon, a sudden negotiation. It operates within the known laws of physics and society. When Musa, as declared, asterisk, no, indeed, with me is my Lord, he will guide me, asterisk, he was not engaging in wishful thinking or a metaphorical comfort. He was stating a fundamental truth that transcends the physical dead end. The creator of the sea and the army is not bound by their limitations. The command that followed was absurd by every human standard. Asterisk, strike the sea with your staff. Asterisk, what could be more futile than striking water with a piece of wood? There was no logical thread connecting the action to the desired outcome. Yet, this is the essence of the step of faith. It is the action taken not because you see how it will work, but because it is the command that has reached you from your Lord, and you trust that his wisdom operates in dimensions you cannot perceive. Your Red Sea is a metaphor for that immovable object in your life, the problem that defies every solution you have engineered. It is the financial debt that no spreadsheet can reconcile, the illness that no medicine can cure, the emotional wound that no words can heal. You have calculated, you have planned, you have consulted, and you have reached the shore of your own understanding only to find a raging sea blocking your escape. The staff in your hand represents the one thing you still have the power to do, the one act of worship or effort that seems, in the grand scheme of the problem, pathetically insignificant. It is the dua you make when you no longer have the words, the charity you give when you yourself are in need, the decision to be kind when you are filled with bitterness, the commitment to pray Fajr when you haven't slept all night from worry. To the outside observer and to the cynical voice within, it is a pointless gesture. What good will that one prayer do against this mountain of grief? The asterisk Shaitan asterisk whispers, how will this small charity solve a problem of this magnitude? The story of Musa as provides the devastatingly beautiful answer. The staff is not the solution. It is the act of obedience that invites the solution from the one who holds the laws of nature in his hand. When Musa as struck the sea, he did not part it. His act was one of submission, and Allah, in response, parted it. The impossible path did not just appear. The impossible asterisk became asterisk the path. The very thing that was the source of their despair, the sea, was transformed into the mechanism of their salvation. This is a divine pattern. The thing you perceive as your greatest obstacle, the source of your deepest pain, can be, by Allah's will, transformed into the very vehicle of your deliverance and your elevation. The bankruptcy that humbles you may be the catalyst for a simpler, more blessed life. The heartbreak that shatters you may be the necessary clearing away to make space for a love that aligns with your destiny. The failure that embarrasses you may be the foundational lesson for a success you could not have otherwise achieved. This requires a surrender that is often mistaken for passivity, but asterisk tawakkul asterisk is not passive, it is intensely active. It is the action of the heart and the limbs in unison. It is to exhaust every conceivable means, to use your intellect and resources to their absolute limit, to truly reach the dead end of your own capacity, and then at that precise moment to turn your entire being, your hope, your fear, and your expectation wholly towards Allah. It is to strike the sea with your staff not as a last, desperate gamble, but as the first and most logical step in a new reality where your Lord's promise is the primary factor in the equation. The dead end, therefore, is not a sign of Allah's abandonment. It is the necessary precondition for a miracle. It is the classroom where we are taught the difference between our limited power and His unlimited power, between our conditional plans and His unconditional decree. It is where we learn that the maps we draw for ourselves are insignificant compared to the destiny He has charted for us. So when you stand before your own Red Sea with the sounds of your personal Pharaoh, be it fear, regret, or despair closing in behind you, do not despair that the path is not visible. Your faith is not measured by your ability to see the path, but by your willingness to lift your staff and strike, trusting that the one who commanded you to do so is already orchestrating a way through the impossible, turning your darkest dead end into your most brilliant dawn. This means that the ease is not a distant reward for enduring the pain. It is a present, tense reality woven directly into the very fabric of the difficulty itself. The light is not only at the end of the tunnel, it is already here within the tunnel, illuminating the next step, if only we have the eyes to see it. Imagine carrying a heavy, cumbersome load, The weight is the hardship, the asterisk, usser asterisk. But within that very load, hidden from plain sight, is a compartment containing water to quench your thirst, a map to guide your path, and a tool to lighten the burden. The ease, the asterisk, usra asterisk, is not the moment you put the load down. It is the sustenance and guidance you discover asterisk, while asterisk you are still carrying it. This is the essence of the promise. The hardship and the ease are two sides of a single coin, held in Allah's hand. We are only feeling one rough, textured side, while the other, smooth and inscribed with grace, is facing Him, existing simultaneously. To truly internalize this is to undergo a complete paradigm shift in how we experience suffering. It moves us from a state of passive waiting to a state of active seeking. The question ceases to be, when will this end, and transforms into, where is the ease that Allah has already placed within this situation? What is the grace hidden here for me to find? This seeking becomes an act of worship, a manifestation of our trust in Allah's word. It forces us to look beyond the overwhelming totality of the problem and to start identifying the specific points of relief, no matter how small they may seem. Perhaps it is a moment of unexpected peace that descends upon your heart in the middle of a panic attack. That is the ease coexisting with the anxiety. Perhaps it is a single supportive message from a friend when you feel utterly alone. That connection is the ease existing within the isolation. Perhaps it is a sudden clarity of mind that offers a solution you had overlooked in your despair. That insight is the ease embedded in the confusion. Furthermore, the verse is repeated for a powerful emphasis. Asterisk, in normal usri yusra, in normal usri yusra. Asterisk, the scholars of tafsir have pondered this repetition. Why state it twice? One profound explanation is that it signifies two distinct forms of ease. The first ease is the immediate internal one, the strength to endure, the patience asterisk sabr asterisk that He grants you, the ability to still take the next breath when you feel you cannot. This is the ease of the heart, the spiritual fortitude that Allah injects directly into your soul to prevent you from shattering. It is the hidden compartment in the burden. The second ease is the external, tangible relief, the solution to the problem, the removal of the difficulty, the dawn that breaks after the long night. This is the eventual putting down of the load, but notice, both are promised asterisk with asterisk the hardship. The first is present from the very beginning, and the second is guaranteed to follow. This understanding dismantles the feeling of absolute despair. It means you are never, ever in a state of pure, unadulterated hardship. There is always a component of grace, an element of divine support, already active within your situation. Your task is to partner with Allah in uncovering it. This is where faith becomes a practical tool, not just an abstract belief. When you feel the walls closing in, you must actively, even if mechanically, recall this verse. You must say to yourself, Allah has promised that with this pain there is already relief. I may not feel it yet, but my faith tells me it is here, so I will look for it. You begin to scan your inner landscape for signs of it. Did I manage to pray? That prayer was a moment of ease. Did I remember to eat a bite? That sustenance was a moment of ease. Did I feel a flicker of hope for a single second? That flicker was the ease shining in the darkness. This is the divine contract. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, never inflicts a wound without providing the balm alongside it. Our limited perception often separates the two, seeing only the gaping wound and not the healing agent that has already been dispatched. To believe in the promise of asterisk, Ma asterisk is to train our spiritual vision to see the balm resting right beside the wound, to have the faith to reach for it and apply it, even when the pain is all we can initially focus on. It is to understand that our Lord is not testing us with a cruelty that abandons us in the void, but with a profound lesson that comes with its own built-in key for liberation. The hardship and the ease are inseparable companions on this journey, and to recognize this is to walk through the fire with the certainty that you carry a shield of divine mercy, a shield that is not waiting for you at the finish line, but one that you have been holding all along. The experience of darkness is one of the most universal and terrifying human experiences. It is not merely the absence of light, but a state that seems to defy the very logic of hope. In the depths of a long, personal night, it is easy to believe that the sun has been extinguished forever, that the world has been permanently reordered into a landscape of shadows and silence. Our perception, narrowed by pain and fear, loses its capacity for perspective. The present moment of suffering expands to fill all of time and space, erasing the memory of light and making the possibility of dawn feel like a childish fantasy. It is in this vulnerable state that the whispers of despair find fertile ground, suggesting that this is not a phase but a final verdict, that the pain is not a visitor but a permanent resident of the soul. Yet it is precisely against this backdrop of existential fear that the Quran presents one of its most relentless and comforting arguments, the incontrovertible rhythm of creation itself. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, did not design a static universe. He engineered a cosmos of cycles, of ebbs and flows, of contractions and expansions, each element locked in a divine dance of opposites that points to a fundamental truth. He asks us to observe the most basic yet most profound of these cycles, the alternation of day and night. Asterisk, and He it is who has made the night and the day successive to one another, for him who desires to remember or desires to show gratitude. Asterisk Quran 25:62. This succession is not a random occurrence. It is a law, a asterisk son, at Allah asterisk, the way of Allah that is as fixed and unwavering as His essence. The night, no matter how deep and encompassing, is constitutionally incapable of holding back the dawn. It has a defined beginning and a defined end. Its very existence is predicated on its eventual termination. To believe that the night will last forever is to fundamentally misunderstand the architecture of reality as ordained by its creator. This cosmic principle is the template for our personal trials, your period of grief, your financial struggle, your season of loneliness. These are your personal nights. They feel absolute, but they are, by divine design, temporary. They are subject to the same cosmic law that governs the heavens. The depth of the darkness is not an indicator of its permanence. In fact, it often signals the imminence of the dawn. Just as the night is coldest and darkest just before the first light breaks on the horizon, so too can our trials feel most acute right before the relief arrives. This is not a mere platitude. It is a spiritual law that operates with the same certainty as its physical counterpart. The promise of Allah is not that we will be spared the night, but that we will never be left in it indefinitely. The dawn is a guaranteed event. Its timing is in the hands of the divine, but its occurrence is a certainty woven into the fabric of existence. Our role, then, within this divine cycle is not to command the sun to rise. We lack that power. Our role is to learn the art of navigation. This is the essence of asterisk, sabr asterisk, often translated simply as patience. Asterisk, sabr asterisk is a far richer, more active state of being. It is not a passive waiting, a grim, faced endurance of the inevitable. It is the conscious, willful practice of steadfastness. It is the act of anchoring the soul to the promise of Allah when the senses are screaming that all is lost. It is the decision to perform the Fajr prayer in the darkness, not because you feel hopeful, but because you are affirming your belief in a dawn you cannot yet see. It is the choice to be gentle when you feel like breaking, to be generous when you feel impoverished, to speak a word of truth when falsehood seems easier. Each of these actions is a star you pin to your personal night sky, a small, defiant point of light that orients you and reminds you that darkness is not the only reality. This navigation through the night is in itself a form of profound worship. The prayers offered in the depth of despair, the pleas made when the heart is heavy, the remembrance of Allah in the silence of solitude, these hold a weight and a sweetness in the divine scale that prayers offered in times of ease can scarcely imagine. The night is a forge for the spirit. It is in the absence of external light that the internal light of Iman faith is tested, strengthened, and refined. A plant that grows only in the gentle sunlight remains tender and vulnerable, but the tree that must withstand the cold and the darkness develops deep, resilient roots and a sturdy trunk. Similarly, a faith that is never tested by the night remains a theoretical concept, but a faith that has had to navigate by the stars of divine promise, that has had to trust in the dawn while shivering in the cold, becomes an unshakable force, a core of steel within the soul. Therefore, when you find yourself in the long night of a trial, do not curse the darkness. Do not waste your dwindling energy railing against the inevitable cycle of life. Instead, turn your focus inward and upward. Use the tools of navigation Allah has provided you, the prayer salah that connects you to the source of all light, the Quran that is a light upon light, and the remembrance dhikr that illuminates the chambers of the heart. Understand that this night too is a sign from the Lord of the heavens and the earth. It is a difficult, painful, but necessary part of the journey. Your responsibility is not to end the night, but to worship your way through it, to practice sabr within it, and to hold fast to the certainty that just as Allah is the one who draws the veil of night over the world, He is also the one who, with perfect and merciful timing, tears it away to reveal the brilliance of a new day. The dawn is coming. Your faith is not in the dawn itself, but in the one who decreed it, and your worship through the night is the proof of that faith.